We're going to model an old lantern together, and I'm going to provide you the reference image on the ZeroBio Discord, so just check out the description if you want to download that image and model along with me. You guys are just fantastic. I've just been reading your comments, and they're so kind and so complimentary, so thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. All right, so let's check this out. Let's bring in the reference image. Okay, there it is. I'm going to scale it up a little bit, I think. And just sort of let's position it about there. All right, because I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on this thing with the hole. So the reference is a little blurry, and we may go off it from time to time, but that's okay. It's called empty there. I'm going to just switch that to reference, and I'm going to roll my mouse on this part here, scroll my mouse downwards, and choose this arrow, and uncheck it so I can't inadvertently turn it off. I'm going to switch over to my move tool, and we're going to create this part here. So here is the first little trick that we're going to use. We're going to start with a plane, and I'm going to rotate X 90, and I'm going to scale it to the approximate size that I want it of there. Okay, now I'm going to subdivide this, and I'm going to subdivide it 5 times, and the idea is I want an edge right down in the middle here. I'm going to select that vertex, Control plus a couple of times, press 3, go back into face selection. So I'm selecting all of these squares or quads to make up a big square. Now I'm going to create a circle out of this using loop tools. That's just a free add-on that comes with Blender. So I'm going to choose circle, I'm going to press I to inset, bring it in a little bit, and I'm going to delete that face. I'm going to activate the snapping tool now, and I want it on increment. I'm going to Shift D, pull this down until it snaps. Alright, we'll snap to edge instead. Pull it up and snap right there. And I'm going to pull it over and back, and I want to snap it to this edge. Selected, M, merge by distance, should get rid of some vertices. Okay, go into vertex selection, and I want to select all these and delete those vertices. So I just got this sort of straight line there. Same thing on this side, and I've got that. Okay, now I'm going to, maybe we'll hide that for the moment. So we have that. I'm going to use the mirror tool, and I will just mirror it like that. Turn on clipping, and now array. I'm going to array this in the X by 12 because we're going to wrap this around us as a circle. I'm going to click on merge and another array. I'm going to go in the Z direction, so 0 out the X, just like that. So I get 4 of these, and we'll click on merge. So now to make this turn in a circle, I'm going to choose add modifier, simple deform, bend in the Z 360 degrees, and I will get that. I'm going to go ahead and apply all of these modifiers. Select it all, M, merge by distance. We got rid of some. Let's turn this back on and see where we're at. Alright, so this is quite large, obviously. So let's take this. I'll move it in, I'll position it perfectly in a moment. Let's do this. Let's go into edit mode, and let's scale it down. And start getting the approximate size of this. Just right around there. Okay, my 3D cursor is right in the middle of the image. In fact, we're going to move the image back. We can still see through it. All right, my 3D cursor is right in the middle. This is not perfect, so let's do this. Let's set the origin to the 3D cursor and set geometry to origin. Look from the front again, and now I can just pull it up. So it should be right down the center. Okay, cool. Let's hide the reference, and let's take this and solidify. I'm going to pull to the right to give it a bit of thickness like that. I think I'll go ahead and apply that. Let's make sure we save. Control 1 and shade smooth. And then it's up to you if you want to put any more edge loops. I'm going to bring one in near the front. And make sure we got it snapping off. So I'm going to do that again. Let's do that. And bring one near the front there. And we have our main part right there. Okay, cool. All right, let's carry on and model some of this other stuff. So I'm going to bring in a circle, and I'll go for something like 22 vertices. We'll put a subdivision surface on this, scale it down. I'll bring it up. So again, it's not going to be perfectly on the diagram, but that's okay. Extrude down. E and S. E. I like to do this with my vertices selected. I find it easier if I'm scaling against an image. I can see better. S. I may have moved it a little bit there. Let's come back to here. Let's check that out. Okay. Let's take this and go E and S. Come in and F to make a face. Let's do the same here. E and S. Come in a ways, F to make a face. And now, let's just put on a subdivision of 1, and then I'll bring in edge loops up, down, here. We'll come out near the edge, maybe not right to it, and then we'll see how sharp that is, see if we like it. We'll come up and down. So have a look at that. This could maybe be a bit sharper. So I'll bring an edge loop underneath. What am I missing? Maybe we need one more here to sharpen that up. That's looking all right. We'd probably go with that. And to make the top part, why don't we take that and start with that? Go into edit mode, select it, Shift D, start pulling it up. Let's rotate X, so 180 degrees, and position this something like that. So this part is pretty much the same. And then we have the top. So I'm going to select that face, and let's make a new piece there. Let's see what it does. Okay, it comes up and then it angles. So let's Control plus a couple of times to there, maybe just to the outer edge, and let's delete those faces. I can leave that edge there for now. And grab this. Let's look from the front again. And how about we press 1 for vertex selection, E to extrude, and click. Come up. We can go with a wireframe if we want it. S to scale. We'll do it like that. But this is going to be a separate piece, so let's just close this up and go E and S, F. Let's look at that. We're going to need some edge loops to make this more prominent. So I'm going to pull this edge up and bring an edge close to here, and here, and here. And we'll see if I'm starting to see the cut there. And maybe use it a little bit more. Hopefully that one's not too sharp. I'm going to back off on that one, I think. And maybe leave it like that. So we've got this, the middle piece, and that. Yeah, and then we're going to do that piece there. So to do that, let's grab this face. So I'm switching number 1, 2, and 3 to go into vertex edge selection or face selection. Shift D, let's pull that up. P, let's break it out. And let's have a look at this. Maybe I'll press 1 and we'll scale it out to there. Or it should be okay. Let's press E to extrude and come up to this point. And I'll turn off the subdivision for the moment and go into wireframe. I'm going to press 3 for face selection. I just find it easier. Let's bevel this back. Control B and pull. Just pull it down a ways and then start rolling your mouse up until you kind of get the curve. And the quads are kind of even in size to some extent. So we get that. Let's go into solid view and just slash to focus on that. I think we'll get rid of the bottom X faces, and that'll help. And let's have a look at that. Really, I don't really like this part there, but we'll see when we put a subdivision surface how it looks. I'm going to bring that down and scale it a tiny bit. Okay, so that could fit on there. So it's this part here. So now we're going to be ready for the next little tip thing, which is that. So I think I'll come in and let's select the top. And I believe we'll probably have a hole through this, and this part will sit on top. I think that will make sense. So before I do though, let's bring the 3D cursor there. So Shift S, cursor to selected, X, delete that face. So I have that. I'm going to need to make this, give this some thickness, so otherwise it's not going to look right. Let's worry about that in a minute, because I'm not quite sure about that. All right, so let's do this cool part here. All right, here's how I'm going to do this. So we're going to bring in a plane, rotate X90, and of course we're going to scale it down and start to position this thing. And we'll start with that. And we're just kind of covering it up. All right, I'm going to go into wireframe, Control R, throw in an edge loop, and Control B to bevel it, roll the mouse back to 0, and get the approximate size of that hole that we want. Okay, we're going to put some edge loops on either end of that first of all, so Control R horizontally and Control B. Pull some edge loops up to there to sort of give the approximate size of this. I can move it again. Now, I'm going to put edge loops on the left and the right, because remember this is going to go around the circle. We're going to need that geometry. So I'm going to put in 2 edge loops there, 2 edge loops there, and they're relatively similar in width. Okay, that's basically what we're doing there. Let's go back into solid view and number 3 for face selection, select that face, hide inset, just pull it in a little bit, and we'll go ahead and we'll delete that. And I'm going to go Control 1 for now. We might do Control 2. And we can see we're getting something like a circle, not quite. Control R there and Control R there, and Shift Alt and click both of those. So both selected. Let's bevel that. Control B to split it apart. Pull this up so that we get a circle. I think I will jump up to 2, and we'll get that. And that's going to be what we need to use. Okay. So now we're going to do a similar thing. Is going to hide the reference for the moment. I'm going to array this. I'm going to click merge, and I'm going to move the array above the subdivision like that. And I'm going to go for however many holes I want. I think I'm going to go for 8. And that is what we're going to wrap around. All right. So the way we do that, of course, is we come in here to simple deform, bend in the Z, 360 degrees. And we have that. Okay, so now what we need to do is, well, we're going to, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and apply, all right, and just apply those. We're not going to apply any subdivision. We're going to apply the deform, choose merge by distance, and we have what we need. The 3D cursor is right there, so let's set the origin to the 3D cursor, and then geometry to origin. Look from the front. We'll turn the reference back on. Come up. Well, it looks like we're going to have to scale this. So let's select it all. And let's try Scale Shift Z. And our holes will get a little bit bigger. But we'll just sort of get the size that we need. How's that? Not too bad. Let's go ahead and put on Solidify. Let's give it a little bit more thickness, like that. And I think I'll go ahead and apply that and do what I did before. Throw an edge loop up near the top. I'll focus on that. Down near the bottom, just to sharpen it up. Okay, now I'm just going to look at this, and I think we're probably okay the way we got it. All right, back to the reference. Well, we did the interesting part. Now let's create this. Let's come in here and grab one of these circles. Shift D to duplicate it and pull it up. Scale it a little bit, and P to break it out. Make it a new object. So we've got that. E to extrude, come up, switch over to wireframe. E to extrude, and move that. So let's do that again. Turn that off. E and click, come up, scale. And it's debatable, do I want to do that as a separate object? We could do it probably as one for now. So let's just extrude up. F to make a face. I'll go into wireframe. And I like to do this in face selection. 3, Control B, pull back. Roll your mouse up and try to simulate that shape. Something like that. We're going to need edge loops to tighten this up. So bring one close to there. And close to there. Let's try that. Shade smooth. And bring another edge loop in here. Maybe one down, not there. Maybe one down here. Okay, we'll get that. We need to close this off though. So select that edge, E and S, come in, F to make a face. And of course we'll need an edge loop down here. And likely one right here as well. Cool, we have that part safe. Okay, we're going to make the handle and these parts. So we're going to bring in a cylinder to do that part. Let's go mesh cylinder. Let's choose something like 18 vertices, and let's choose nothing for the cap fills. Scale it down. Look from the front, scale it. We can bring it over here. Let's we want to rotate this. How? Rotate Y90 like that. Go to wireframe if you really want to match the diagram. Something like this. And let's go to solid view. In 2, edge selection, we'll select there. E and S will come in. And I can't quite see the diagram, so I'm just going to try extruding it out and seeing. So, you know, that doesn't really matter. The main thing is this post here has to fit in here. So if you really want to get it the right, you know, to match the diagram, just keep your eye on that. So let's scale, but not in the X. Scale Shift X to make it a bit bigger. Something like that is probably okay. In fact, let me move it so that it's more in the middle of this area here. Let's take this area here and just in edge selection, Shift Alt to click it, F to make a face. We can look from the side in wireframe and just, you can't really see, so just pull it back, bevel it, and give it some roundness there. We'll have to do something with this end too, it's too sharp, so just Control B and just roll your mouse back to 0 and then roll up one, have 3 edges in total in there. And you can probably shade smooth if you bring an edge loop up here, and that's probably good enough, unless you want to join everything and you want a subdivision on there. I'm going to leave it like that. My 3D cursor is right in the middle, so I'm going to set the origin to 3D cursor and mirror in the X. And we're still relatively on the diagram. Before we go too far, let's turn off the reference and let's check our polys. Okay, this one is flipped, so let's select it and recalculate it inside. So everybody is playing nicely, as I like to say. All right, so we're going to make this handle here. We'll do that using the plane. I'll rotate X90. 1 for vertex selection. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press 2 actually for edge selection. Select this edge down there. Probably can't see it, but it is selected. X, only edges and faces. And then I'll be left with just that part. So it's kind of like a handle. Okay, I'm going to scale this, scale it in the Z just a little bit. And I'm going to leave it looking wireframe if it helps. These ones will attach. I think I'm going to scale this in the X a little bit like that. So it's kind of on the inside here. Now this part is pretty straight. This one angled a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select those two vertices and I'm going to subdivide once. So I have one point. I'm going to pull it just up a little bit. Not too much. Just a little bit like that. Okay. Select all these points now. And then Shift Control B. You can't just do Control B. It's Shift Control B. Pull. And then roll your mouse up till I have 5 dots. And then just pull them so they're kind of equal spacing. Like that. That's good enough. Let's shut that off again for the moment. Alright, so that's what we have. Let's right-click, Convert to Curve. Come over here, and under Geometry, Bevel, start pulling this up. I tend to hold Shift so it doesn't move too quick. Let's bring it to there for now. Shade Smooth and Control 1 before we go any further. And I need this to match up here. That's not quite right, so I'm going to back off on this. I'm going to look at this, and let's see. Let's try SX, but hold Shift. Move slow. That's probably still a little bit too thick, and I'll turn on the reference image, and we'll look in wireframe. And I'm a little bit off the diagram, but that's okay. Let's try 0.036 maybe. Let's see how that works for us. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Excellent. We're going to do a similar method for these things here. Bring in a plane, rotate X 90. Let's get rid of those vertices so I have just this. And let's take this G and bring it to about here. So really what happens is we come here and then there are these pieces here. So I'm going to go to around there. And I'm going to take this point and it curves about there. I'm going to press E and G and drag it to about there. E and just come down and grab these and pull them over. Something like that. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to curve this part here. So select those vertices, Shift Control B, pull. I like to have 5 in there and just separate them out until you get a nice smooth curve. And convert to curve. And under Geometry Bevel, hold down Shift and start pulling. Shade Smooth. You can do Control 1 if you want. And we have that. To make the foot part here, I'm going to select 2 vertices that are in a straight line, Shift D and P, and now you'll see that you have another piece there, another curve. Increase the diameter of that one. It doesn't matter if you're off the diagram a bit. Alright, so it looks like that. We'll convert that to a mesh. So come up here, change your resolution first to about 4, so that when you convert it to a mesh, it's not too dense. So we have that, that's fine. Select this top, E and S, just pull it in. Select the bottom, let's look again. I'll come up here, E and S, I'll come out. Again, I like to see the vertices, E, and come down. I may have moved it a little bit when I do that. Now we're going to bevel, so just select these edges. I switch to number 2 edge selection, just quickly. Let's Control B, and I'm just going to put in 1. I'll shade smooth, and I probably will do this. We're going to put in an edge loop here, and an edge loop here. I'm going to select it, Alt and recalculate outside. It was looking a little bit funny, but it's probably fine. So I've got that. We'll mirror that around in a bit. And now let's create this part here. You know, I like to just reuse circles. I'm going to do this in mesh, so I'm going to take this And in fact, I'm going to, in face selection, Shift Alt and click there, Shift D and pull it up so I get all of that with the subdivision already on it. I think I may use that. So I'm going to press G and I'm going to come up here. All right. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, but not in the Z. So I'm going to scale Shift Z and just sort of pull it in. And the idea is that this would just sort of weld onto that. So I'm just going to press S, just touch it there. Okay, so that's pretty good. It's not going to be exact. Now, I'm just going to pull this down a little ways and press E to extrude and come up, and S to scale. Do it like that. Let's turn off the subdivision for now. We'll do that. And then, you know, if we want to do this as one piece, I don't really know. So let's do the same on the bottom. It doesn't have to be exactly mirrored or anything. E, come down. Oops. An S, bring it in. And then I feel like we should do some of these in the as one piece. So let's try this as one piece. Let's extrude down. E and come down and come in. And we'll start closing this off. Come in and F to make a face. We'll just pull that up. I'm going to turn this back on. Let's throw in some edge loops and see if we like it all joined up as one piece. You could separate it out later or whatever. Just throw in a bunch of edge loops to give it some detail, accentuate some of these edges, make them a little bit sharper. But I don't want to make them too sharp. That's the thing. Maybe a little sharp at that point, but it's probably okay. Maybe we'll make the top separate. So let's just grab this and take that point and just pull it up. And it's not quite really centered, so I think what I'll do is we'll look here, and what have I got? I got both of them. So select the piece in Control L to select what's linked to it, just that. And let's center this up a little bit more. Let's do that, and then let's scale Shift Z and bring it out again so that it touches. And we have that piece like that. Makes me think now that this part should be narrower. I don't know. And so, yeah, I think I'm gonna work on that a little bit. I'm gonna select here, Control plus a bunch of times till I get to about there. And look from the front. And I'm going to scale Shift Z. Don't want to come up one more. Scale Shift Z because I'm not quite liking that. So just make the design your own, I guess. We need to probably get rid of that edge, and it'll look like that. And that looks okay to me. Let's grab this edge here. We're going to build the top part, but I'll do it separate. Shift D. Let's pull it up and P to break it out. Scale it down. Pull it in. Let's go E. Extrude up. I think I'll make it a bit bigger. Scale Shift Z. I can bring that in as well. Let's F cap that and Control B and roll your mouse to get a bunch of those and have it sort of like that. You know what? In actual fact, I think I want to do something else with this. I think I want to scale it in like that a bit. Okay, let's shade smooth, and let's just look at, if I do that, I'll just make it a bit bigger. I think I sort of get what's in the diagram. And so now I'm going to come back to here, and I'm going to take this and I'm just going to scale it in so it looks like those join. There we go. That's what I wanted. So hopefully this stuff almost connects. What we'll do is we'll take this and this and this and this, and I'm just going to go into edit mode. I'm just going to pull them in ever so slightly to make sure that it makes contact. Let's save that. Let's turn off the reference for the moment. Let's make sure that, yeah, okay, that one is flipped. Alt-10, recalculate outside. Scale. I think at this point I'm going to select everything and pull it up so it looks kind of like it's on the ground. Okay. And let's get rid of that subdivision because this is a curve. Let's switch this to 4 and let's make it a mesh. There. And I will put control 1 back on. So everything here has a subdivision, I believe, of 1, 1, 1. So at this point, I think I can join these, control J, and we'll just make it easier to, rotate this around. With my 3D cursor right there, I'm going to set the origin to the 3D cursor, Shift D, rotate Z 180. Take both of them, Shift D, rotate Z 90. And now I have that. Let's switch to the cavity shader now. We are coming along very nicely. Okay. All right, I think the final thing that we need are some screws. All right. Yeah, we'll do those now. So let's do it this way. I'll show you a way that I want to do this. Okay, Shift A, mesh, circle, but I'm going to choose 64 vertices. And I'm going to move this out and scale it down. And you get the sort of approximate size, and then we'll work on it. I'm going to look from the top. Oh no, I'm going to look from the side. Then take it back. All right, so to do this, I'm going to press E to extrude. I'm going to come up a little ways. Okay, E, I'm going to come up a little ways more. S to scale, I'm going to pull that in. E and S, I'm going to come in a little ways, kind of equal to the distance here and there. And then I'm going to press F to make a face. Now, in vertex selection, I'm going to press K for the knife tool. I'm going to select this very top one and this very bottom one, connect them, spacebar. The next ones, spacebar, and back to the ones on the outside there, spacebar. Those are already selected for me. I'm going to press 3 for face selection. E to extrude, I'm going to pull them down. Number 2 for edge selection, select that vertical edge, hold Shift and select that one. Do the same on the other side. Holding down Shift, selecting those, and then getting a vantage point to look at this. Control B to bevel, pull, and I want to have 1 segment in there, 2, 3 segments for a total of 5 to round that off a little bit. And then I'm going to select all these edges. Just be careful that these ones probably won't be selected here. So hold down Shift and Alt and just painstakingly go around it. Make sure that you get everything selected. And once you do, we're going to bevel this. Just watch here that it doesn't cross over. Control B and pull. Like you, same number. Just give it a nice little bevel. Shade smooth. Let's go ahead and put a bevel actually on this. I might be able to get away with just that. Let's come in here though and put a couple more edge loops just to tighten it up. Maybe something like that. Maybe, let's see. I think I'll leave it like that. I think I'm happy with that as my screw. Okay, let's look from the front. I might actually scale in the Z, make it a bit thicker. I'm going to rotate Y 90 minus. And with G to drag it in, and obviously it's too big. Scale it down, push it out. So it's just going to fit in this area. I'm not really looking at the diagram anymore. I just want to bolt in there, screw, whatever. And I think I'll pull it until it makes contact and I'll scale that in the X a bit so it juts out. Okay, like that. Alright, so I want these staggered from the legs, so I'm going to make sure that my origin 3D cursor, I'm just going to rotate in the Z, just to something so it looks like it's kind of in the middle. So it's like that. Okay. Look from the top. Shifty rotate Z 180. We got two of them. I'll grab the other one. Shifty rotate Z 90. Should have four of them now. And then you can go in, and if you want to rotate these still, switch over to normal. And your Z axis, rotate the Z, and just turn them a little bit. Okay, your normal, rotate Z. Should be okay. Rotate Z. I'll leave that one. And then I'm going to take all of these. I'll actually join them. Control J. Look from front. And what do we got going on here? Just that. Okay, I'll go in. And I'm gonna let's switch back to global. Shifty. I'm gonna pull them up here as well. And then it's just up to you if you want to rotate them. I'll go back into normal. Select it. So select the piece and Control L just for that in normal and rotate the Z. Rotate in the Z. Double check everybody is good. And I see my screws are not good. Let's select all of them. You know, you can even select everything if you don't have too much. Do that. Okay, let's save. Let's switch to a madcap. There we go. Okay, so we'll leave it at that for now. I think we've done everything we needed to do, and then we'll figure out how to put materials on this next time. So thanks for watching. I hope you liked that. I hope I didn't go too quick or anything. It was all worked out for you. And I'd love to hear about it. Take care.